we go. Oh, jeez. Radical Jack here. Feeling a bit chilly. I got my upper back is kind of going, ooh, Jesus. Wow, I went out today. Oh, day 16. Yeah, very much snowed in still. That's the facts. Don't know how long it's going to last. There's snow up to here on the sides of the road. I was like literally sinking into the ground. Each step I took, it's this blizzard has come in and blown it up to the sides, and yeah, it's nuts. Beautiful sculptures, really beautiful to be out there. And I've got probably a 2 mile long road, mile and a half at least. Haven't spoke to a sinner, nobody since I've been here, and today I met three neighbours, which is cool, I had a really good chat with Jim. Nice one, Jim. Very nice to meet you. And a couple other dudes down the bottom, really cool. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in Ireland. I like having that kind of yada with people who've kind of walked the same path, if you like, And it's a small world sometimes, There's character down the bottom. I'm not entirely sure. I might have got this wrong, but I'm going to check it out. But I had one of those coins, which Rick the coin cutter. It wasn't one of his, but some of you might remember him. He cut out around if it was a bull or if it was a deer or whatever, in the center of the coin, cut around it, so it just leaves the animal. They wear it as a necklace. And yeah, there's been this guy down the end. I met him very briefly. Just he looks familiar, but didn't really go any further with that until I was talking to one of the other chaps, and then he told me his nickname, and his name is Bully. And I remember 10 years ago meeting a guy in the Electric Picnic, and he saw that necklace. He says, "Oh my God, man, where'd you get that?" They call me Bully, man. They call me the Bull, And I was like, I just took it off and just gave it to him, and it was like giving him a bar of gold or something, He was just like overjoyed, at the gift. And we were already having a nice interaction, with him and his friends. It was that kind of after party on the Monday Electric Picnic where the crew get a chance to have a little bit of time, having worked really hard, so anyway, it's a small world. It's a really small world, which brings me to a memory of the Small World Festival, which has been in Kent for the last 13, 14 years now. I certainly grew a lot there. Met a hell of a lot of people, a heaven of a lot of people. I'm going to stop saying hell. That whole story, hell, I'm changing it. We're going to heaven. Why not? There's a spell in the word, and then let's break the spell. Why do we say hell? I had a hell of a time. I had a heaven of a time. Yeah. Anyway, you heard it here first. I'm basically thinking about that now, and I was like, wow. The Small World is kind of like a marquee tent, that brings in this phenomenal music. And I first saw them at Glastonbury 1 year on the Green Futures Field, and I got to the stage where I wasn't interested in walking down to the main stage, or I'd catch an odd thing, and just I found like some of the most amazing artists and music and heartfelt music or whatever, and singer-songwriters just in the background, not flying in their helicopters, via the big kind of names, and doing the VIP thing and all the rest of it, hats off to people who've made it, in that way. But sometimes I just think it's all a little bit too pretentious and a bit too much, You know, you fly in your helicopter and straight out again. You know, and it's like, you know, I like meeting the musicians. You know, I like being at one, and I find them, to be honest, far more up my street, you know, than these big bands coming in making a big noise. And you know, there's some big bands that you just got to see. There's no doubt about it. I loved going to see David Bowie, even Lionel Richie. You know, them Sunday nights. You know, but anyway, yeah, it is interesting. You know, it is a small world sometimes. You know, the people that we meet. You know, there are no coincidences. You know, in when we pass or we look up or we see somebody, you know. Coincidentally, this video today, I already did one earlier, and it was just like, it just got strangely messy, and I don't know what happened, and I just thought I'd just do another one. It's easier, you know, than trying to sort it out if I go a couple of minutes over time or whatever, you know. It's difficult to kind of cut it. I don't know how to do any of that. And anyway, I just thought I'm going to do another one, you know. And as it happens, yeah, you know, this is the 88th video on my camera, you know. I didn't realize I had that much clip on my I've only done 20 of these, so that means there's 60 other clips. So yeah, and then just keep coming up against this 88 every day, like it's like a little reminder of, you know, just to keep me on the path, you know. And yeah, I wonder about that sometimes. I wonder about the kind of you know, the things in the unseen. You know, it's just like some stuff just doesn't make sense. You know, and I noticed, as I said before, this kind of battle that's going on between atheism and creationism. And I watched something yesterday about that with Dawkins and this one lady. You know, and it was very interesting. You know. And it's it just seems to me as though this is the thing that we're all up against. It's like this duality, you know. It's like, you know, rednecks and hippies, and, you know, Catholics, Protestants, English and Irish. You know, there's always this kind of opportunity, isn't there, for the powers that be, the establishment, to continuously put us up against each other. You know, and upper class, middle class, or lower class. There's three there, but there you go. Certainly. I mean, duality, when you break up the word even, you know, it's like a duel. I mean, what's a duel? A duel is like, you know, these characters where they they stand back to back and they walk away from each other and shoot each other, you know, or a duel like a sword fight or something, you know. So I just think duality, it's like, you know, what is it? Why is it this thing that we always have to do, you know, which is, you know, it's like evolutionists against creationists, and it's like, well, they both had a point, you know. There's some, you know, I mean, obviously on some level, look at the comments box and you see a lot of people egging on, you know, Dawkins, you know, and kind of like, oh man, he's the most patient man in the world, that he was able to kind of withstand this woman. And yeah, she was pretty hard, you know, at times, you know, to kind of like, she just wasn't listening and refusing certain things. But like, you know, you could see that on both sides sometimes, you know. And you know, I watched Deepak Chopra talking to Dawkins afterwards, and you know, I was a little bit. I used to love Deepak, man. You know, I read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. You know, and I read a couple of his books in the early days, and they helped me out. You know, and I thought he was a dude. You know, but then I see him in later years, and you know, he's just. And I wasn't sure myself, but you know, I've got to hand it to him. You know, he's got an eloquent way of speaking, and you know, he's right in there, you know, and he's trying to I suppose bring that kind of middle ground, if you like, you know, and try to marry things up, you know. And it's so easy then for the scientists to kind of go, well, you know, I think you got it all wrong, mate. You know, it's like, you know, a bit too much voodoo, kind of spirituality, pseudoscience, whatever, you know, this kind of chit chat. And I just think, man, you know what? Why doesn't everybody just take the best out of everything? You know, I thought, well, if we take the best out of the evolutionists and then the best out of like the creationists, you know, I put them two together, we'd have something whole, you know. And you know, I don't know, man. I posted something the other day, you know, with like a lady playing a harp, and you know, it's a song that came through from, you know, just being up on the Loch Crew, and there's fairies in there, and there's little characters, you know, little pixies and stuff. And to me, the picture just represents the imagination, you know. And you know, he was saying, hey man, you know, kind of like, you know, not a lot of that kind of stuff is true, you know, and trying to, you know, explain the folklore and legend and the mysteries and where some of these things have come out of, you know, and you know what fairies really were, and you know, I've read the Dragon Legacy, and you know, I've read stuff like that, and I can understand, you know, that some of this stuff's been turned into something else, and you know, that the possibility that, yeah, there's no such thing as fairies or pixies or this or that. But in all honesty, you know, it's like if somebody talks about you know, a fairy fort or something like that, you know, I've heard stories in Ireland like where, you know, builders have ignored these things, you know, and you know, they've run a road through it, and man, there's like 5 people dead, you know, like the curse of this breaking up this fairy fort, you know, and you wonder about that kind of sometimes, and you just think, okay, well, that's interesting. There's a lot of stuff like that out there, you know, and you think, oh, I bet, well, there's no betting they wished they've already gone, mate, you know, but I bet there's people around them wish that they'd listened, you know. And so, you know, what does those things represent for me? Like, you know, I just think, well, they're there in story to remind us to not go too far. There's always this extreme again, you know, where we can go too far. And now you've got builders that they're like, they put a roundabout around it, and they leave that fairy fort in there, you know, they're scared. But it's got to be bigger than that. It's got to be more than that, you know. These stories are being misinterpreted sometimes, you know, and that they're there and they're in place to show us, you know, to help us to remind us to protect the land, you know, and look after the land and have respect for it, you know, respect for these things, you know, and you know, so it's always a fine line between, you know, what is real and what is fantasy, you know, and you know, and yeah, you could see some people, man, you know, they walk with the staff and the cloak and all the rest of it, and you know, I kind of you know, I think some people, yeah, just, you know, you just think, oh man, you know, they're just trying too hard, and then there's other people, they can carry it really well because perhaps they're living it, you know. And then there's other people who don't need the cloak or the staff, and they just look ordinary, but they're shamanic, and have amazing experiences and minds and study behind them, and you know, do the work, you know. So it's just kind of interesting, you know, all this kind of stuff. But the duality, you know, I just think, wow, really, what are we here for, you know? You know, for me, it's about bringing all things together, you know, bringing everything together, unifying everything, you know, a unifying theory, you know, you know, I don't know, it's like you got all these kinds of things, you know, that are available to us, you know, in relation to that, and because otherwise, what are we doing? You know, we're just like, you know, we're fighting each other, killing each other, you know, raping and pillaging them, war, you know, famine, hunger, you know, all this kind of stuff, you know. I mean, you know, I mean, I had this guy the other day, and you know, he's just like talking about the English. I'm like, man, what is this stuff? It's like it's rubbish. It's just like, you know, I don't see the border in Northern Ireland. It doesn't exist. It's not part of my reality. You know, and that's how I see it now. I see this island, I see this world, I don't see flags, I just see people, you know. And you know, if somebody's behaving badly, he needs to be treated as an individual, not as a you know, a Muslim or a Catholic or you know, whatever, you know, a black guy or you know, whatever. It doesn't really matter whether he's black or Muslim or Catholic, you know. It's like, you know, if he's sick, he's done something sick, that's it, you know, end of story. So we got to get away from this stuff, you know. We really got to start you know, trying to see things for what they really are, and not get caught up in this us and them. You know, there is no separation at the end of the day, and you know, each side has got something beautiful, you know. And whatever religion you're into, you know, if it keeps you on the straight and narrow, then that's a beautiful thing, you know. And so yeah, it's yeah, let's do away with the duel, stop dueling each other, you know, and you know, let's go for the win-win situation, you know. So yeah, the time's nearly up again, so blessed be. I hope you're keeping warm. Lots of love from the heart, and yeah, peace be with you all, and okie doke tomorrow.